Finally got things working. Going in off this idea of this is a breaker. And down here can be my stop. So roughly 1-to-1. I'm bummed because this would have been my entry down here, right in here, and my computer locked up. So that's much wider stop than I would really want to have had. There's this gap. And start pulling up some of my other charts. That was a pretty bad entry, so kind of leaves me feeling a little disappointed. Felt really rushed because I saw this as the breaker, and so I entered on this candle coming right above it, and didn't leave me much of a R. So I don't quite know how to say it. I felt a little bit like, you're kidding me, you know? Felt a little disappointed. Once I saw I was in a position here, I closed it just to get out of it because nothing was working on the computer on TradingView, so I was able to exit the position and Tradovate for a slight loss. And then I was trying to get my computer to log back into my accounts, and I see it close above. So it was one of those things where had I just left it and not touched it, I'd have been in the position, you know, right in here, and I'd be taking profits already. So I felt like I didn't have the best luck, which is something I felt a little bit lately in some regards. To be like, well, the smart thing to do is to close the position because it could careen down here, and I don't even know if there's a stop loss or not set. Because I couldn't tell. Nothing was on the screen working. So I had no idea if there was a stop loss. So I just went into my dashboard, collapsed everything. And that would have ended up being a win already, because I would have TP'd somewhere in here, probably wouldn't have come to break even again. And so now it's going to be a whole lot longer to figure out, to wait and see what even happens. I'm going to play this one as 1-to-1, I think, just because of everything that happened. So yeah, I'm gonna get my other charts going up in here, and maybe I'll be lucky. It'll be my lucky day, and it just decides to rip for that, and it doesn't have to mess with me a ton. And that would be great, because the NQ has not been very kind the last couple weeks. I was even talking to a friend last night about switching over to gold, just like, and even seeing how YM is moving, ES is moving, and look at NQ. It's like, I don't want to do anything. So let's see here, switching up, getting my chart set up. Open up some new tabs. And really, I guess there's a lesson to learn in here. Like, there's a lesson to learn in everything, if you can find it. So I could be super upset that, and I initially was, I for sure was, super upset that the way everything played out in this, having to exit the position in a frantic scramble, getting back in, trying to get my computer to work and do its thing, and that's a bummer. And I'm sitting here going, like, I want to be upset that, I had to get out of the position only to get back into the position, and I could have won the position. Now I might lose the trade. Like, those kind of things happen in life. But the real thing is, can we find the silver lining? Can we find the positive in it? And in hindsight, looking back, I do. I saw a little bit before I went live, I was noticing a little bit of funniness with one of the websites I was using, Canva, to create the thumbnail for this. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Canva doesn't seem to be responding very well. And so that right there was my clue. I should have shut the browser down, should have shut down the computer and rebooted before pressing the go live button. And so that's, that was my mistake. And now I have that little point of reference for myself going forward as I'm, new to live streaming. I'm not new to being a content creator or anything like that. That's what I did before trading. But I didn't do any live streaming. Everything I did is pre-recorded. So very different scenario. And I also wasn't live trading, which is anything I did in the past, like you pretty much had time. And in trading, you don't have time. So let's see here, pulling up some of my other charts again. I like what the 15-minute is looking like. Nice rejection down in here. I do want to see this gap fail right there. Over here on the 5-minute. This gap here too. So if it's gonna, and that's where I was super bummed at my entry. Had I been down here, everything would have been a lot safer. Whereas up in this zone, it can reject, come back, and then I have, my stops. I have less room to go break even or anything like that. I do like to look at that 1 hour. Not that it can't change, but that 10 minutes to close, and that's looking like a nice bullish candle. So going back over here to the trade screen, I went in with 2 micros this time. I know 1 micro is silly pretty much and doesn't really do anything. So I used 1 micro just to get in back into the groove of things. My count's still a little bit in the red, not much. Like a solid winning trade would totally take care of it. I want to go over here real quick and log back into Tradeovate in case I need to panic exit a position like that. Again, I don't think I will because everything seems to be working fine. And I guess also looking back in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have entered this trade. And just because of my panic to get in and the technical difficulties, I might not have been making clear decisions, and there could have been indications that I didn't want to take this trade that came after that I wasn't seeing just because I was like, I need to get in this trade. Whereas every candlestick gives us a little more information as to what we want to see or what we don't want to see. I might have missed something, and it might have been a trade I wouldn't have gotten into had this whole panic situation not unfolded down there. So bearing that in mind, I don't want to necessarily do that kind of stuff in the future. So it's another lesson here today. So we have SMT down in here. I took this as a breaker inversion, kind of inversion. And that's where even like looking at this, like it's kind of an inversion. There's a little itty bitty inversion. Is that significant enough for me? I don't know. I might have doubted it. But it is what is it. It is what it is. Really, I'd be okay tucking that up a little bit considering where my stop is now, below that gap, as long as it's 1-to-1, I'm fine on this trade. I'm really not shooting for 1-to-1s anymore. So we're up 124 ticks. But everything that I'm shooting for 2-to-1s. That's what I need for my system to work. But the way this unfolded, it's going to be a 2-to-1. I'm kind of feeling a little stressed. I want out of this trade so I can just reset, recalibrate, because it may rip higher and may give me the 2R if I held. I just don't feel like it. I'm going to call this a W, especially as much time as I spent in the charts this week. Just give me a little boop. That's all I need is a little boop. But all things considered, it wasn't so bad. in terms of everything that happened here. I didn't just enter randomly. I did enter on a breaker, despite the chaos that was happening for me on my end. Look at that. Look at that. It's going to tease me by a tick. Unbelievable. Like I even tucked that up just a little bit to make sure it tapped me, because you want to front run your exits by a bit. Like it'll sometimes leave equal highs, which it is. It's leaving relative equal highs. So even here, apparently I should have exited right there, because now it might come back down a bunch before tapping that level. So at this point, I think for me, it's going to take this candle's higher, this candle's low. Trying to decide if I want to move this up at all, and I think it's going to take it, or just collapse it. Tailless candle right there, so it could come back down here for that. It's already tapped into here. I would expect it to run up to here. So for me, I am just going to tuck it up there. It's one or the other. I don't know which is going to happen first. Oh, there we go. There we go. TP hit, TP hit. So cool. Everything happened as I wanted it to, which was a great feeling. And then see, there's that response. That's what I didn't want to be a part of. I wasn't on this particular trade interested in holding on a retracement.